Ciao, and welcome to the Grapefully Yours Wine Podcast, coming to you from the warm and cozy studios at InsideLowell.com in downtown Lowell. Good morning, Teddy. He's our producer today. Teddy Panis, how are you?
Morning, guys.
Morning. And my co-host, the Wine Butler, Mike Pigeon.
Here we again.
So this is my first show back. Since
back.
I left for Florida. I went to Florida for a month to recharge, drink some nice wine, play some golf.
Yeah, I missed you over those 4 weeks, but it was a nice taking a break from not having to drink wine at 9 in the morning when we do this show. So, but I had it when I had evening meals, but good to see you back again.
Well, I want to thank you for keeping my front walk nice and dry, and also for checking on my wine cellar. And as I saw when I went down there, I saw just a couple of bottles. They were missing. I could have misplaced them, or maybe
cold weather popped the cork on a couple of them.
Oh, is that what happened?
I think so.
Okay. Well, you're entitled to anything you want down there. You know that. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's great. So, what have you been doing the last month?
Oh, not too much. This is New England, still doing my walks and enjoy the photos you sent up. I still can't get over that one restaurant you went to where the chef actually had a frying pan outside, 3 feet in diameter.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yep.
Easily.
That was Chef Mario at La Mucca Ballerina in downtown Sarasota. That means the dancing cow. He's from Rome. He has a restaurant in Rome, and he lives part of the year right down here in Florida. Good life, huh?
Oh.
And his 3 daughters work with him in the restaurant, and his wife. And it's right on Main Street in Sarasota. So this was the 4th year we had been down there. And this year, he cooked on the outside, because you saw he has outside dining.
God.
And he took out this that large pan. It's hooked up to a propane
Overly
tank.
large.
Yes, hooked up to a propane tank, and a little hose goes underneath and just keeps a little light going on. And he cooked the first time I ever had this strozza prete pasta.
6 pounds of it, you said.
6 pounds.
In with the sauce.
Right. This was a special meal for 10. My college roommate and buddy, Mike Matone, who lives down in Sarasota, he took us, he hosted the party. It was our last week in Florida. And so he got the pan, he put a little oil in it, then he started making his own sauce. So everything was from scratch. He threw the onions in there, then he added the cherry tomatoes, then he added mushrooms, and then you saw the photo with the pasta. I'm going to send Teddy the tape of it, and we'll embed it, and I'm going to write a little story about it. And so let me get back to the strozza prete. I'd never seen the macaroni, because the macaroni was like thicker strands of spaghetti, but they were tied together. So they had three appendages to it. And I said, wow, I never saw that.
Like a squid.
Yeah. And it was about 6 to 8 inches long. And I said, I never saw pasta like that. He says, yes, strangled priest. I says, that's what strozza prete meant. And there's a legend to that story that the priests in Italy, the little villages, they used to go around meet their parishioners, and all the women would cook, pasta for them, so they'd have to sit down. Well, the priest, after a while, he ate so much pasta, he was going to choke on the food. That's what the men said. He's going to choke to death on the food, because the woman kept making him. So that's where that legend it comes from, and the pasta is named after strozza prete, strangle the priest. So, but it was when he got done, that sauce and everything. It was a matter of fact, the Friday, it was during Lent, so we couldn't eat meat, so it was a meatless dish, but it was absolutely fabulous. Now, granted, we were paying for him, but but the 6 pounds of pasta, we weren't going to eat it. So everybody in the restaurant saw what he was doing, and they started coming by for dishes. He fed the entire restaurant for free on us that night, But it was a great outdoor event. And
they talk about what type of wine goes with what type of food, but when I looked at that, I'm saying, my God, that looked so delicious. Any type of wine would go with that. Just to sit back and gorge yourself with that dish.
So the other thing about this, Pottis, was he has wine at his restaurant, but he lets people bring a bottle of their own wine if they want.
Any corkage fee? Or was it
yes, you pay a corkage fee and stuff. So my friend brought a bottle of Barolo, Barbaresco, okay, and then we bought a couple of bottles of Prosecco, the white wine, and then some Italian Vermentino wine, which we're going to talk about today. Yeah. But it was just a delicious meal, and you sat down, and my main dish that night, more pasta, was gnocchi. He did a nice cheese gnocchi with shrimp, a porcini mushroom, but the porcini mushrooms were cut up really nice and thin, like bits in there and stuff. It was absolutely fabulous. My wife had the creamy risotto with the porcini mushrooms and shrimp. So it was a really nice evening and stuff. But the wines were flowing. We just had a great night. And I also played a lot of golf. That's how I worked it off. And Florida was fun. It was fun. It was nice to get away. The weather was great. Missed, of course, my friends back home and stuff.
Of course.
But it was great to get away. And they had some nice wine stores. This year I really delved into. We were on Anna Maria Island on the West Coast. And there were two or three wine stores, but two Italian wine stores that featured mainly Italian wines. The prices were a little higher than here, but the selection, they had more wines from southern Italy, from Sicily, the Mount Etna area, Campania, Puglia, which is the East Coast. So I was really fascinated by some of those wines. We tried a couple of them. They were good, and give me some food for thought, for the future. So. But I'm glad to be back, and we went Friday to our first wine tasting of the new year. We went, Mike and I were invited by Colangelo, their big public relations firm for a lot of European wine organizations and companies, and so we were invited to a special hour-long wine tasting with just the Mike and I and Giovanna Battista Basile. He's not only the owner of Basile Winery, this is what his bottle looks like, but he's also the president of the consortium for Montecucco wine producers. And what did you think of that? What did you think of the tasting?
It was good. It was limited with bottles, but both those gentlemen, Christopher also, so engaging, and they knew so much about this, probably other wines too, but about the Sangiovese, they loved that wine, and it surprised me when you said, if I put a bag over that bottle and you didn't tell me, I would think it was a Barolo. It was
Brunello.
Brunello, not a Barolo. Excuse me, Brunello. Yeah. It was that good, and it's a good time, good few wines. It was good. Yeah, I love listening to people.
And what was so interesting, I mean, I had studied about the Montecucco wine region, when I went for my certification classes years ago, but I had never really tasted wines from that area, because it's a small district and it's relatively new compared to the more mature and older wine districts in Italy, and it's a small one. But you know, we bantered with Giovanni and Chris for a while. Christian, we learned a lot, and that's the main thing about wines. If you like wine, to learn about them. Every wine has a story. Every wine region has a story, and this is a new district, but it's a gem. It was a hidden gem because it sits right in the middle. First of all, it's on it's near the Maremma coast. Well, remember, Bulgari is to the north. It's one of the most exclusive places in Italy for the super Tuscan wines. We talked to Marilisa Allegrini from Allegrini Wines several years ago in New Hampshire, where she described the landscape, the beauty, the sea, the Tyrrhenian Sea, the cool breezes from the Mediterranean. She said it was, she first saw it years ago, and she said, I have to have a vineyard here. And you know, the Allegrinis make tremendous wines. So Montecucco is northwest Tuscany towards the western coast, and it's tucked in that corner, but it's in between two very prestigious wine zones, Morellino di Scanzano is to the east of it, and then Brunello di Montalcino zone is to the west of it, just separated by the Orcia River. So you can imagine you get this wine district sitting in the between, nearly the same terroir landscape, right? And you say to yourself, gee, why was this place, you know, overlooked for so long?
Nice sweet spot. Yeah.
And they all deal with Sangiovese-based wines. Sangiovese is the king. It's the noble red grape of Tuscany and northern Italy. So that's why I was intrigued, because, you know, you say to yourself, well, you know, just like they say in California, you know, not all Cabernet Sauvignon is the same. It's because of the different, microclimates, the mesoclimates, the terroir. Everything can be a little different, and those vines absorb it, and you do get different characteristics from different areas and the climate and everything else. So you know, we found out more about Montecucco. The first, it really didn't have any wine tradition up until the 1990s, when, you know, land in this area was cheaper than buying land in Montalcino or the Barolo or even Scanzano. So people started gravitating, the pioneers, to this area, and they saw the beauty of it. And there were a lot of independent farmers who had vineyards. See, these people, agriculture is big to them. And if you were to go to Montecucco today, you would still think it was farmland. That's the way Giovanni described it to us.
And he represents 60 small wineries over there. So that'll give you some indication. This isn't a big area to start with. And if there's 60 that he represents, they're not huge. They're only so many hectares large.
Good point. His consortium represents 60 wine producers, and the average farm is 8 to 16 acres. Okay, so those are small farms, and these people have a passion for wine. They still have livestock. You know, they grow olives, they milk cows, but wine has become an industry to them. And the other big point, he says, that they have one of the largest percentages of certified organic farms in all of Italy. 85% of these farms are organic. They practice organic methods, which means, you know, as he said, we respect the land. You know, the wine industry hasn't changed us. So how young is this? This year is their 25th anniversary since they the Italian government recognized the DOC. That's the DOC regulations, and they're a recognized DOC. So that started in 1998, the Montecucco DOC. But through the years, the Italian authorities and winemakers and regulators realized that the Sangiovese produced in this area had such great potential There were different sites, especially towards Mount Amiata in the west. So these vineyards go right up the slopes of Mount Amiata, which is an active volcano in Italy. And they created the highest quality tier in Italy, the Montecalco Sangiovese DOCG. So on the quality wine chain in Italy, DOCG regulated wines are the highest you can go. It's very strict rules how those are produced, and they have to have a pass certification from a board of expert panelists, so that what you have in this wine that goes to the consumer in this bottle is actually what it is. So they taste it year in and year out. It has to taste basically the same, because if it differentiates, they investigate. They want to know what's going on. So it's an interesting. It's very, very tough regulations and high quality.
So it has to taste the same, you said?
Well, the characteristics have to be the same.
Because I'm thinking, if they had a bad harvest one year, could they still get it to taste like that?
They produce
within limits. Yeah,
they produce less.
Yeah,
and he mentioned that they would produce less than a bad harvest. They don't put, or they declassify some of the wine, and they'll put it in the DOC. It won't be into the DOCG. So, but the other thing about this is, for Sangiovese based wines, I mean, what do you pay for Brunello? Average cost for Brunello di Montalcino?
I haven't bought Brunello. I've had Barolo, but it's about $59 or something.
Yeah,
$79.
$50 and above. They go over $100 and stuff. Sangiovese. I mean, so with these Sangiovese wines, and Giovanni made the point about it. I mean, they're less expensive and yet the quality is just as good as other Sangiovese based wines in the area. So Mike and I tasted 4 Sangiovese based wines. The DOCG and the reserves have to have 90% Sangiovese in them. This is a DOC wine, okay? This is his entry-level wine. It has slightly more than 60% of Sangiovese. No, actually, this has 100%. So even though this is a DOCG, okay, I'm sorry. So this is the DOCG wine, Catacanta, and it has 100% Sangiovese. Cost $24. We bought this at Bottle Boston,
right next door.
Right next door to Fantasy Fine Wines, which is owned by Christian Trotta, who's the sole distributor for Montecalco wines. But my point is, you go out exploring, you try different things. This was, I couldn't believe the value in this wine when we tasted it, huh? It just,
excellent.
It was elegant. Yep. It was really, really elegant, the texture, and it had a minerality to it. Like saltiness at the end that added to the flavor, the taste, and well, because they're only 19 miles from the sea, so the wind, the Mediterranean breezes bring that sea salt, covers the vines and everything, and it's picked up in the taste. Not that it's salty, but you get that, wow, what's that little minerality in it that makes it so crisp and clear and just heightens your palate and stuff. So it was just a treat tasting these wines from Montecalco, and I put them on my list. That's why we bought. I bought it, and
yeah, it's something how that goes. Like, that's the Sangiovese, which is the main grape into Brunello.
Yes.
Now,
that's right.
Barolo is very expensive also, but you can buy a bottle of Nebbiolo, which is the main grape in that, so much less. So it's something how you can almost get the same thing for a lot, but there is a different taste though, but it's so close sometimes.
Oh yeah, but this, so the restrictions on this has to be aged for 12 months in cask of oak, and then it goes in for another 6 months in bottle. Sometimes they do it for 2 years, even longer, because the Reserva, as we saw, we tasted the Reserva from Montecucco, which is aged for almost 4 years.
Oh, that's a long time.
Yeah, and it cost $42. It was excellent, and the smoothest. It was silky smooth, and the nice plum and
plum. It had a lot of plum, and it was so, if it's the right description, thin. It's not like a mouthful of wine. It's very
beautiful
thin.
color and very aromatic.
Yeah.
Very aromatic.
Very,
and so it was a delight to meet. To meet Christian Trotta, Giovan Battista Basile, and I'll be writing about our wine tasting for my column that will appear on InsideLowell.com later this week. You should look at it. And the white wine from Montecucco that is one of the primary grapes is Vermentino. And why I show this is, it's Lent for a lot of Christians and Catholics. Friday is a day during Lent where you abstain from meat. So you say to yourself, what do the Italians drink? Well, they drink a lot of, Bianco white wines, Trebbiano, and Pinot Grigio and stuff. But if you want something with a really special taste and fragrance, this has a little spiciness to it. Vermentino, it's only produced along the Maremma coasts and through those islands. This is where it excels, that are off the coast, the western coast of Italy, right down to Sardinia, which makes some fabulous Vermentino. So just think of that. What does this bottle capture? The sun, the sea. It's bright. It's fresh. It is an exquisite wine. Matter of fact, one of the best we ever tasted was with Marilisa Allegrini, Solo Soleil. Mm-hmm. Right? Under only the sun. That's what it's Solo Soleil. So there are some options out there for people to try. This cost $22 a bottle. This is $24 a bottle, and we were also intrigued that was a beautiful wine shop too, Bottle Boston, right on Commercial Avenue.
So many wines in there. I've never seen those labels. They were all Italian, but the number of them. I mean, I go to New Hampshire liquor store, you go buy the Italian, you get familiar with some of the labels. They had like all different.
Yeah,
oh.
and so there's
many wines.
You go on an adventure. We had a great time at the North End. Mike and I stopped later for dinner, but we met a new friend. His name was Gregory. Was it Gregory at the bottle?
At Brico?
No. At the bottle. Bottle Boston.
Oh, yes, yeah. He was very familiar with Lowell.
Yes, he was very familiar with Lowell. He saw my Mickey Ward hat. He was asking about Mickey and Lowell. But what intrigued me was they take online orders and they will deliver. I says, you'll come to Lowell? He says, absolutely. He says, you buy 12 bottles of wine from me. He says, I'll deliver it. But they also have weekly wine tastings. Now just think, you're on Commercial Avenue, 1 block from the ocean, right? The bay there. It was beautiful. It was a nice day. Friday was a nice day in the upper 40s. Mike and I walked from North Station all the way there. You take a couple of sips, and then you go to the North End for dinner. Take the train back home.
Great day.
What did you think of that dinner we had, huh?
Oh yeah.
It was Mike's favorite restaurant. He delivered.
Panza. Yeah. The seafood risotto. The mussels. The mussels were good size. We ate so much bread with that broth, though. We shouldn't have done that.
But they had creamy risotto with the shrimp and the crunchy asparagus, and the plate was so huge, $25
for that.
And that was probably the best value in North End that night, because if you we looked at some of the menus and the prices they were charging, but we totally satisfied. We took 3/4 of it home. You wanted to eat it on the train, and I said no.
We went to Brico and had that nice appetizer with scalloped shrimp and calamari, and it was so great. So we had a good day.
I wish Lowell had a north end. You're a south end or a west end. I don't care. But it was so nice to see the crowds coming in for the Celtics game. They were filling up the bars and restaurants and stuff. But it'll be a nice day when the weather gets nice. You should look at Bottle Boston, because they have weekly wine tastings. Take the train in, go down, take a walk through the North End, go to this place, taste the wines, and then make a day of it, along the waterfront.
And just like a lot of times you go out to eat, you want a different dish. Well, order. It's so easy, as I said in an earlier show, to get a Merlot, a Cabernet, Pinot Noir, something you're so familiar with. But Sangiovese, you might want to give it a try. What you're going out for? Let's have some new off the menu. Get a new wine off the menu. Try the Sangiovese. Then you know what it is like, and you might love it more than what you've been drinking. Maybe you're not. But
very good point.
But try it.
Lastly, I want to just say that we'll be having more local people coming in. We're scheduling them now. Mike Kunstler will be coming in to talk about his wine list up at his Grazie restaurant, and hopefully have a few more. We want to talk to Teddy Panos again, because he promised me he was going to be updating some of those Greek wines he has, which are always a great value. I mean, the Aseterko is a great red wine, and they have a white Aseterko too. Yeah, so
we'll have to get him on before April, because my brother-in-law is going with his family to Greece for a couple of weeks in April. No, May, excuse me, in May. And I'd like to be able to tell her what type of Greek wine, so maybe Mr. Painters could tell us.
Very good. And there's a big, isn't Danielle McFadden and the Greater Little Chamber of Commerce, they're doing a special restaurant promotion right now?
Going on right now, Munch Madness.
Munch Madness, yes. So you can get all the details on their website. I know there's a story on Inside Lowell, but support the local support the local restaurants, bars, and things. They've gone through some difficult times. It looks like it's coming out of it, but they still need the patrons, and respect the work that they do, and just enjoy yourself. Live life, right? La bella vita.
La bella vita.
Well, until our next show, we hope you have a great week, a great time. Any closing thoughts, Mike?
When are you going back to Florida?
Next year. Ciao, everybody.
Good day.